Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Nameless Show. I'm your host, domentora, on this beautiful Friday, March 25th, 2016. Hope everybody gets their day started right. This is going to be going up at 9 o'clock a.m. I think that's the time I put up the other episodes, but I'm not quite sure. It's been a while, so we'll get into that. Hold on. Oh. Yo, I need more. Hold on. Oh, that is good. All right, I'm going to be drinking that the rest of the show. Don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe. All that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get into it. David, where the hell has the show been? And it posts the entire month of February and almost the entire month of March. What's going on? Let's start at the beginning. Why haven't I... what's the deal with most of February? Well, I decided I wanted to take a week off from the show. To be honest, I got in a little bit of trouble. That was kind of thanks to the show. I was really hyped up about the podcast, and I was really loving doing it, but it was, taking between recording and editing and the upload time and all that, maybe 2.5 hours every night that I was doing it. And I was doing it, recording it Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday to put up on that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and oftentimes I was working on that day. Or, I'm taking responsibility here. I was being lazy. I wasn't doing it at a good time. I mean, shoot, I'm doing this right now at 10:30 Thursday night. And essentially, I was staying up way too late, oversleeping, and I'd been late for work a few times, and the boss called me and was like, "Hey, David, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. You can't be late for work like this." And, I had to make a decision. And the decision was I'm going to take a week off. I'm going to really nail down a solid sleep schedule. I'm going to really work on my self-control of getting the stuff I need to get done. And then I can work in this podcast into this routine I've established for myself where for a week I was basically building in the time it would take to record the podcast every night into my routine without actually recording it. So that, if for any reason something went wrong, I wasn't on the hook and having to stay up late. And it worked. I think since then I've been late one day, and that was by like 7 minutes because there's some road construction going on. And they closed off the exit I normally take off the highway. So it's been pretty good. So why didn't I keep going? A week was a month and a half ago. And a month and a half ago. What took so long? Well, now that it's public, I can say it. I still am not going to say where I actually work, the company I work for, because I still work for them. And until or unless that changes, I'm not going to say it. It's not hard to find out. Do a little bit of research, but I'm not going to say it. But the company I worked for told me in early February that they were closing down my store. Now, I'm going to avoid sharing my personal opinion on that. Because I can't do it without really naming or giving away what company it is, and I don't want to do that. And even if I could, talk about the company itself, I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble, if that makes sense. Right now I'm a supervisor. I've got a full-time job. The pay is never what you want it to be, but it's enough to where, I live in a two-bedroom apartment because all of my friends, my old roommate moved out. He got a house. Nothing bad. He just got a house. And all my other close friends already have leases that don't expire anytime before the end of the semester, and I don't want to Craigslist it. But, point is, I can afford a two-bedroom apartment and all the bills on my own. I don't like it. It's barely scratching by, but it's something I can do. And I don't want to risk that. When the store closes, I want to get moved. I'm sorry, you're probably hearing my cat in the background. When I close myself up in the room and then he hears me talking, he just assumes that he needs to be wherever I am. So he is yowling his little mouth off, and I promise I will leave the room after I'm done recording this and cuddle with him, and he'll be nice and happy. But obviously I don't want to lose my job. The store is closing, but I'm a high priority to keep. My sales numbers are good. Year over year, profit increase. So that's a percentage thing, not a dollars thing, but the percentage thing year over year. When I checked it a few weeks ago, like 2 weeks after they told us, for the week or for the month, it was quarter to date. It was quarter to date. I was second in the district, fourth in the region, and 97th in the entire company. And this is a company that operates thousands of stores. Now, obviously, once again, that's not total profit, but that's year over year profit increase by percentage. And that's something I can really hang my hat on that I'm proud of. And that's a reason that I feel pretty secure in my ability to keep my job. And even if by some craziness I don't get to keep my job, I get severanced out, and I have a pretty good severance package. I'm not necessarily saying that's what I want, but if it happens, I'm not going to be too heartbroken over it. I've never had a hard time finding a job. If I have to find another one, I can always find another one. I'm not worried about that. Either way, it works out for me, but it was something that understandably had to stay secret. We signed the paperwork saying we weren't going to say a word until it went public, and it went public last week. And we signed the paper saying we're not going to say a word. You can tell your family and financial dependents. That's it. And I didn't even tell all of my family until it was closer to time. Because, losing your job, losing your severance is just not something you want to risk. But now it's public, and now I can talk about it on here to the extent of, not to the fullest extent I would like to. That'll happen someday if I'm not working there anymore. But I can talk to it to the extent of the amount of stress that comes down on you when you're full time and you supervise a large and by percentage the most profitable section of a retail store. And now you have to get ready to close. You have to get everything, your perfect inventory. You have to. Every second you're there, you're working. There isn't any downtime. And this isn't complaining. This is just you are coming home from work exhausted. And the idea of spending 2.5 hours on this podcast when I was coming home so tired, I sat down on the couch, pet the cat, nodded off for half an hour, got up, took my shower, took care of a couple of chores, and crashed out again. It was just not something I could do, and it's not that I didn't want to. I love this show. I love talking into a microphone. I mean, look at my view numbers. Would I be doing this if it wasn't something I loved? This is not profitable for time. 2.5 hours spent at work makes me significantly more money than I made off this show. Although that said, I got my first YouTube money check. That was nice. That was special. I actually spent it on a steak dinner. I felt like I deserved it. I deserved it. I wish I had it now. Wish I hadn't spent it on that steak dinner, but that was a really good steak dinner. It was a really good glass of scotch. I deserved it. But so that's where I've been. That's why I haven't. That's why the show hasn't been a thing lately. I have been so not overwhelmed. It's not anything I can't handle. But it's been a lot to deal with the process, training new hires, temps who can run the registers, while those of us who have been there deal with the stuff that only we can deal with. Getting everything ready, added responsibility as the management team shifts around. It's exhausting, and I'm not happy about it. I look forward to the new horizons. Don't get me wrong. If I get moved to a new job, that's a whole new store, whole new people, whole new experiences, and I'm excited for that. And if I get severance, I'm excited for that too. That opens up an entire new chapter in my life where I can find a completely new place to work. Hell, if that severance pays out all at once instead of over time, if I can line up a job and immediately start, or even start just a couple days later, that's bonus money. Bonus money that can go towards savings, go towards paying off what I owe to get back into college, getting this cat fixed so he stops trying to spray everything. I'm kidding. I've actually got a way to got a veterinary hookup for that. Are you seriously scratching at my door right now? Did you hear that? Dude. Why are you scratching at my door? You're not a dog. He thinks he's a dog. I swear to God. I don't know how he doesn't realize he's not allowed in here anymore. It's not that I don't love him. It's just until I get him fixed, he really wants to make sure everybody knows my bed is his, and that's not allowed. Yeah, that was distracting. More, we'll pretend this is soda. It's not. So either way, keeping the job with the company I'm at, or even moving up, I'm guaranteed either a lateral move, keeping my position, or an upward move. So if that happens, cool. And if it doesn't, then that's even more opportunity for me, as long as I'm proactive and go out and get it. I can't get a severance check and then sit on my ass for a month. That's not how it works. But so I'm not worried about me. As long as something crazy doesn't happen and they don't just decide to fire everybody, which I don't think they can do. They're a multi-state company, so I think they have to go by right-to-work laws. I'm not entirely sure. But barring any crazy unforeseen event, that looks okay. Now, the money in the meantime, it's a little up in the air. Like I said, I don't have a roommate, so I'm paying for everything. The budget's got to be tight. And there's some stuff that I've treated myself to this year that maybe I shouldn't have money-wise. Maybe I'd rather have that money in my account, but I got a new bedspread. I got a new mattress for my birthday, and I finally got the new bedspread for it. And it's cost more than I wanted it to. Now there's some things that I need to return. I got some stuff off Amazon that didn't quite work out, and I've got to return it. I've already replaced it with other stuff. So once I return that and the money comes back into my account, we'll be happy again. But the point is, I get a paycheck tonight at midnight, but I don't need that paycheck, and that's a good feeling, and hopefully one that with a little bit of responsibility, I can continue. Just like hopefully with a little bit of responsibility, I can get back into this. We've gotten to the point now at my store where the exhaustion and the getting everything ready is mostly gone, because now it's just happening. And now it really is just show up, do your job, and go home. The extra stress and pressure, now the biggest pressure is just sell everything you can. And I'm good at that. So, hopefully, we'll see. I'm not going to promise I can go back to that 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday time slot that I covet so much. But regular, semi-regular, regular being like you can count on them happening, uploads of the show are not out of question. Because, like I said, it's something I want to do. It's just, maybe it's something I'm going to have to do, like I think my last one or the one before that, just on my phone headset driving home, because that's the opportunity I get to talk on a mic. And maybe it's times like this where I can actually sit down at my desk, talking to my beautiful mic, and poorly articulate my thoughts. So that's what's going on. Now, obviously, 22-year-old male, there's plenty of other soap opera-y drama in my life. 2016 has definitely been an interesting year, and is going to get more interesting as time goes on. I don't like to get into my personal relationships on any level of public forum, but there's been the world is crazy, and people are crazy, and women are crazy, and men are crazy. Everybody's crazy, and it's fun to deal with. But yeah, the show's back. But the show's back with that little asterisk at the end of it that says, the show's back when I can. And that's what it has to be right now. As long as this stuff's up in the air, where, I may be moving at the end of May and I have to get that stuff figured out. I've got to actually put a lot of time and effort into budgeting, getting ready for the most expensive options that could happen in my life, getting severance, not finding a job as soon as I need to, moving, that kind of stuff. Well, I need to budget for that, even if that's not the case, and I have the willpower not to break that budget. I mean, it's busy. I'm actively busy. I've had less free time when I worked overnight at a gas station, full time, and 20 hours a week during the day at the place I'm currently supervisor at right now. I had less free time, but I didn't feel as busy. And now I'm busy all the time. And when I'm not busy, those rare nights I'm going out with my friends. Because you need to unstress, you need to de-stress, and unfortunately talking into a microphone isn't the same de-stress as going out to the karaoke bar with the friends. And I feel bad for that. There are a few of you that genuinely enjoy the show and genuinely listen to the show, and I'll let you down. And I let myself down by not recording, but sometimes you got to put you first, and if putting me first means I'm going out to McNelly's on St. Patrick's Day and having some green beer instead of sitting in front of my computer sipping PBR because it's the cheapest stuff I can buy, and talking into a microphone about how much I wish I'd have had green beer, it's a no-brainer. But nights like tonight where I've got home, I've got some chores to do, but I can get them done while this is rendering. I don't have plans with my friends, and it wasn't too exhausting of a day. I can pump out a short episode, throw it up on the upload, and hopefully some people can enjoy it. So that's what I care about, and I'm really happy to be talking in front of a microphone again. And I apologize for the rambling I'm doing right now. To be honest, I didn't plan ahead on what else I'd be talking about today. I just got so excited when I got home. I realized, what? Hey, I've got some time for this. I cleaned up enough of my room yesterday. I can sit in my chair. I got my chair in from the living room. I got my chair. I got my desk. The countertops, reasonably clean. I got my mic. I got my computer. My computer's already plugged in. It's ready to go. Let's record. Let's do it. Tonight's the night. And I got so hyped up. I just came inside, threw off the work shirt, sat down, turned on the computer, ran a couple mic checks, and then started talking, and did not even stop to consider what I would be talking about once I explain where I've been. My bad. I'll come up with something. Actually, there is something tiny on my head, and that's a curiosity. I might actually delve into my personal life a little bit here, but in an opinion way. I'm looking for opinion. Sometimes I think when you know somebody for a long time, maybe a girlfriend, maybe a parent, a step-parent, a sister, a friend, or even a short. There are people that will have a long-lasting impact on your life. I like to think that normally those are the long-lasting people, but sometimes it's short-term people. Sometimes it's the guy you met over spring break and something. There's a billion things that can have a long-lasting impact, but those long-term impacts are the ones that I think are the hardest to deal with when that impact turns sour. Say, for example, you have a friendship and you've been friends for years and it's been going really, really well, and they always have your back, and you always have their back, and you're friends. You're friends. You're good. You're golden. But if something happens, and you just kind of start drifting away, and you wonder to yourself, what am I doing here in this relationship? And that's not so much me as it is a couple friends of mine going through some stuff. And I wonder how to help them. I wonder what to say, because I've gone through that where somebody was a major part of my life for a long time and really got their tendrils into who I am and how I think and what I do. And then that relationship turned sour, and I had to kind of salvage me out of the version of me that I became with that person, right? I mean, there's art that isn't on my walls anymore. There are books that aren't in my library anymore. There are clothes that aren't in my closet anymore. Not even because it was bad art or bad books or bad clothes, but because they were just too much of something that didn't exist anymore. They weren't me of now so much as they were a version of me that was with that person. And I know that that kind of relationship thing is very different from a friendship, but I think it's still very similar, where when you're a friend with somebody for so long and you've gone through so much stuff and they know so much about you, when you get to the point where that friendship just isn't right for you anymore, you know, it's the daunting task of actually ending that friendship is one thing. But it's the reverberations and the repercussions where maybe you're sitting down one day playing a video game and realizing you're only playing that video game because your friend got you into it and it's not really your thing. You're drinking this particular, beer because your friend got you into it, but now that you're drinking it on your own, you realize, I don't actually like this beer. My cat is so fucking loud. It's been like 21 minutes since I closed the door, dude. Are you serious right now? It's whiny. I don't know how I ever get to sleep. But movies, books, it's different than when you're in a romantic relationship, but it's still there. And I wonder what you do about that. And I wonder what advice would I give somebody in that situation? How do you tell somebody when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, me and blankety blank, I don't like hanging out with him. I don't like spending time with him. I feel like we're only friends because we've been friends for so long. How do I deal with that? What do you say? I mean, the standard is just, fucking tell him, just take it, go to the fucking bar, say, hey, look, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. We just, that doesn't work. To me, in my mind at least. I think it's easier to end a relationship than a friendship. Barring any extreme action, everybody's have this thing. There are things my best friends could do that if they did this thing or this thing or this thing, they're done. That's it. Right? We all have those lines that if you cross, that is it. But nobody wants to cross those lines for the sake of killing a friendship, right? Because nobody wants to ever feel like they're the bad guy. Nobody ever wants to go do a thing that they know is bad, that they know is going to hurt somebody else solely so that they can dump a friend, right? That's not how it works, I would hope. But, it's also not like when you're in a relationship. Ideally, say we're going to pretend we're all me here, right? So I'm with a girl and it's just, it's been a year and a half. It's not working. I can take her to Starbucks or take her to the bar or wherever it is and just, explain, hey, it's, if you want reasons, I have them, and, I understand if you don't want to get into them. I don't necessarily want to get into them either, but if you need to talk about it, we can. This isn't working for me the way I want it to. We've been together for a while. We've had some fun, but it's just, this isn't me. And this isn't what I want to be doing. That's something you can do in a relationship. How do you do that with a friend? I mean, some douchebag liberal motherfucker, and I say that as generally a social liberal, is going to tell me, well, why can't you just do that with a friend? Well, it's different. My buddy can't take out my other buddy and say, hey, blankety blank, you want to go to the brew house? Yeah, sure. All right, look, I'm friend dumping you. That's not a thing. That ain't real life. And if you think it is, you're not living real life. But they're still different, right? Like with a relationship, we'll play personal here. My ex-girlfriend, the one I dated the longest in my life, we do not share friend groups at all. Our friends do not overlap. They did at one point, they don't now. That's easy. At that point, the hardest part about not being together, at least for me, is just, how much of my life, how much of who I am is me versus, her. Like I said, sometimes, art has to come off the walls. Things have to leave the closet. Books have to be, donated. Sometimes when you get out of a relationship, or if you've been out of it but you realize that you just never want back in it, you have to go through that little cleansing period of just, what is me and what is me in that relationship? Figure that out and then go from there. What do you do in that situation if it's a friend, though? I mean, most of the time your friends overlap, right? If your friends IRL in real life, right? Like, if my friend A actually does tell friend B, and I think friend B knows this, and I think friend A knows friend B knows this, but if friend A does tell friend B, hey, look, I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be friends. I don't want to hang out, all that. Well, okay, good. I'm sure friend B will be understanding. But now what do we do as a group? When they're both part of the group, but neither one of them like each other. That's going back into high school shit. So how do you deal with that? And I don't know if that's something that's normally... I don't know what the average friend group size is, but that seems like a bit of a pain in the ass. So I don't know what kind of advice to give, because my experiences with getting rid of friends, with having a friend in my life where I just don't want them in my life anymore, has gone, one of a few ways. Either they've crossed a line. They've done that thing to cross that line and they're out. They're done. I've hit my limit. Or we just naturally separated, right? Maybe they moved. Maybe we just stopped talking. I decided I wasn't going to initiate conversation, so they didn't either. But I've never had to do that with somebody who was, actual friends with everybody. Every friend that I have been like, you know what, I don't want to have anything to do with this person anymore, has been more my friend than the group's friend. And unfortunately in this situation, there are... both of them are part of the group. They're not a groupie brought in by somebody. They're both part of the group. And fuck me if I know what to do with that. Because every other time something like this has happened, because there have been a couple times in my life where one person in a friend group fucked over somebody else in the friend group, and then sides were picked and lines were drawn. But this isn't that. This is just, hey, look, we don't get along. I don't want to hang out with you anymore. That's it. There's no wrong. No fault, no blame, nobody done no wrong. That's a George Strait quote. Listen to George Strait. Good musician. So what do you do from there? Do you just hang out with one person, hang out with another person, hope they can get along when you hang out as a group? What do you do with that? And I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm Dr. David. I should know what to do, but I don't. I mean, I still struggle with my own stuff, right? I mean, there's still things I own from my most recent ex that I have trouble getting rid of, even though they're not me. There's a book or two that I still have that I have not opened since we broke up and don't plan on reading. But I still haven't gotten rid of them. I have stuff from 2 exes ago, from 3 exes ago. It's not... that. On one hand, that's normal. The interactions we have shape and change who we are, blah, 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 blah. But on the other hand, some of that stuff, you do have to hit a point where you're just... You know what? Maybe this is going to suck for a little while. Maybe not having this piece of art on my wall is going to bum me out when I look at this wall. Right? I'm looking at my wall right now. I don't have a piece of art up there I had up there before. That blank space bums me out. That art not being there kind of bums me out. But you know what? I'm really excited to put up a new piece. And once I get that new piece up, I ain't going to care anymore. See, because with relationships, it hurts more. It hurts a lot more. And the more entrenched you are with somebody, the harder it is to become your own person again. This is experience talking. But while it hurts more, I think it's oftentimes easier to deal with. I've never had to continue to hang out with a girl that's broken up with me or that I've broken up with, right? I've never had to. I have, because many of them I'm still on decent terms with. Some of them I still see, wink wink, from time to time. That's just how it goes. But what do you do if you're friends? If you're part of a friend group, I'm at a loss. Because every other time we've had somebody leave the friend group, I've been like, all right, fuck off. You did something wrong. Go away. You did this, you did that, you did this, you did that. I'm not going to name things because I like to stay on good terms with people, and I don't want anybody, any of my friends watching the show to know I'm talking about them. But sometimes you leave the friend group just because you drift apart, and that's easy. Sometimes you leave the friend group because you're a fucking cunt, and you got to get the fuck out, and that's easy too. The hard part is, if you have two friends, neither of them really did anything wrong. They just don't like each other. What do you do then? Hey, we're having a party at my place. Person A, you're invited. Person B, you're invited too. But neither of you are allowed to drink. All right? Sound fair? Cool. This'll suck. Like, what do you do there? And yeah, every other time someone's left the group, I've been able to say, hey, yeah. Fuck off. I can live without you. But sometimes, you might have it where both people are really close friends of yours personally, and you don't want them to not like each other, but you definitely don't want to not have them as friends. What do you do there? Do you dump a friend? How do you dump a friend? That's my question for you. Leave that in the comments below. How do you dump a friend? Now, I'd like to emphasize, especially because I have friends who listen to my podcast. In fact, I would say the majority of my views come from friends and family. Does family listen to this? Shit. Dad, I lied when I said this was beer. Mom, I did not hypothetically call somebody a cunt. Yeah. But I think it's mostly my friends. And I love all my friends. My friends are good people, so leave that advice. Leave that advice, because it's not a me thing. I can't stress that enough. And I understand some people might interpret that, oh, he's saying that it's not him, it's clearly him, it's not him, it's clearly him. No. Because me, I guess I would do the friend dump, right? If I have a problem with somebody, I'll tell them, hey, the fuck? You're doing A, you're doing B, you're doing C, you're doing D. Whatever it is you're doing, fucking stop. It ain't working. But even that, I guess, is different than just, hey, we don't really get along anymore, do we? Nope. No, I don't think so. All right, fuck off. I've never really had that. So I don't know what I do with that. Any friends that I didn't get along with just kind of gradually disappeared. So yeah, it's not for me. It's probably for one of the assholes listening to this podcast. So let me know what you think. Leave it in the comments below. How would you end a friendship with somebody whom you have a shared close friend group with? How would you do that? And then, you know what? I'm going to leave you with something empowering real quick. A lot of people, you're sitting there at night and you feel alone, and maybe you're thinking about an ex-girlfriend, or maybe you're thinking about a family member who passed away, or a friend who friend dumped you, right? And you're wishing you could move on. You're waiting for the day where you have a bad day at work, and your first instinct isn't to call your mom's phone, only to realize that she's not going to answer. Where you're walking around Target and you see a cute bikini and you think, oh, that would look really good on the girlfriend I don't have. Or hey, maybe you see a really nice sport polo and think, man, that would look great on the boyfriend that is a complete douchebag. Whatever it is, right? Whatever you're going through with relation to other people, you need to know that you are the one with the power. You are the one who gets to make the decisions about how that person affects you. And now there are some things that maybe you can't control, right? Maybe you still live in the house that your parents owned, and that reminds you of it all the time, right? Maybe your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend is, lives near you. You have to see their car all the time, is seeing somebody you used to know, whatever it is. Right? Maybe your friend is still part of the same friend group as you, and you still have to hang out with them every Friday night during a pool tournament. There's some stuff that's just not easily within your control. There's some stuff that just kind of happens. But there's other stuff you can do, right? I mean, I've never lost a loved one like a parent or a sister or a brother or son or anything like that. But it's okay to, repaint the walls. It's all right to change out the carpet. It's not a bad thing if what you have to do is put the photos in a binder and put the binder on the bookshelf instead of letting them sit all around the house. If that's what you have to do, it's okay. Don't feel bad about it. If what you got to do is skip the pool tournament night. Set up, times you can hang out with friends individually. Time it, know the other person's work schedule and time a party for when they won't be able to come so they don't feel left out and you can still hang out with all your other friends. There's stuff you can do. Like I said before, maybe you got a painting that reminds you of somebody. Get rid of it. You got clothes that you never would have worn or picked out for you. Fuck it, get rid of it. That ain't you. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a movie, maybe it's some music. My point is, whether it's death or a friend dump or an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, when you need to move past something in your life, the strongest, most definitive action you can take is to just stand still in the quiet and look around and take stock of those physical things, that inventory in your world that you just don't want anymore. And I don't mean, I still want it because it has sentimental value. I get that, but that's not what I mean. I mean, you don't want it, right? The only reason I wanted a painting was because it had sentimental value. There was no other reason. The only other reason was that it was taking up space on my wall, and I didn't like how my wall looked without it. I still don't, but I have a plan for that. Maybe my dad dies and I get his truck, right? I'd love his truck. If he died, only reason I'd have it would be sentimental value. Because I don't actually have a use for a truck. I would love a truck, but I don't have a use for a truck. Only reason I'd hold on to it would be sentimental value, and there's a point where that sentimental value isn't worth keeping it, right? Maybe you're playing a video game that you used to play with that friend all the time, and it brings back some good memories, but, it's not a game you play. You bring it out maybe once every 2 or 3 months, play for 30 minutes, have a little bit of, throwback, and then, what, you feel better? No, you probably feel worse. Junk the game. The only way you move on from bad stuff in your life, especially the bad stuff that involves other people, is to be proactive in not necessarily erasing those people. Like I said, you can still put those photos in an album. There's some books you can still hold on to. They just maybe don't need to be on your shelf. You can still have that video game. Just don't play it. You don't have to just up and get rid of everything that reminds you of another person in your world. But you need to do what you have to do to allow yourself to move on. And maybe what that is getting rid of stuff so that it doesn't remind you of them. Maybe what that is some sort of emotional victory in saying, this was something that you, mom, made me do that I didn't want to do. This was something that you, boyfriend, made me do I didn't want to do. This was something that you, friend, made me do that I didn't want to do. Well, now I'm done with it. Maybe I never liked that. I'm trying to think of something. Maybe I never liked that shirt you picked out, Mom. You made me wear it all the time, and I just never liked it. All right, you know what? Actually, if that were the case, I'd keep that shirt. That's different. I mean, it's different with a parent or with somebody you love dying, I guess. But all right, well maybe your boyfriend bought you a really cute underwear set, right? Really cute underwear. He loved it on you. You felt beautiful wearing it. And now you don't want it. It just makes you sad. You tell yourself you feel pretty in it, but you kind of realize it was never about you. Get rid of it. And sometimes what you have to do in life to move on, whether it's from a death, a breakup, a friend dump, or even, hey, a workplace. I mean, when my store closes down, I know I'm going to have a hard time going to that particular shopping center again. That's a huge chunk. I mean, but by the time the store closes, I'll have been working there for 2 years. That's a large chunk of my life, and it's just gone. I mean, shit, by the time this is done, this workplace will be my second longest girlfriend. But sometimes sometimes moving on isn't as easy as, going out there and finding another job, or getting, closer with the rest of your family, or, firing up the Tinder app or hanging out with the other friends. Sometimes what you have to do to move on is just take that active step in moving on. And for some people, that active step, for me, that active step is just, picking up that thing. Picking up this book. Picking up this book and saying, this was a good book. I enjoyed this book. And this is something they brought into my life. But I don't want it anymore. And the only reason I still have it is because it has some sort of emotional value to me because of that person. And I don't want that anymore. So I'm going to take it to Hastings. I'm going to sell it for $2. Whatever. Now I got $2. I can go get myself some pudding snacks. I'm in good shape. Sometimes you have to move on by lightening your load. By cleaning house. By getting rid of the stuff that's weighing you down. And when you do that, whether it's somebody you still love with a passion, like a parent or a best friend who's passed away, whether it's somebody you hate, like a friend dump or an ex, or somebody you still have weird feelings for, like a friend dump or an ex, I think you'll find that lightening your load, getting rid of the stuff you don't need, taking one long last look at that emotional thing and saying, you know what, this thing, I have a lot of feelings on this, but they're not feelings I want to have to deal with all the time just because this thing exists. It's okay to clear house, I guess is my point. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it all at once, but it's okay to clear house. It's okay to start fresh. From a from a friend dump, from a dump. Not a dump. Well, you might want to spray some Febreze after. My bad. Toilet humor. What'd you expect? My point is, sometimes moving on means clearing house from whatever it is you have to move on from. Work, friends, a relationship, family, whatever you have to move on from, understand that not even sometimes, often that's going to mean clearing house. Physically shedding items that you don't need to have anymore. And just realize it's going to suck, maybe the day after. Maybe a couple days after. Maybe every once in a while when you think of that thing and realize it's not there anymore. But in the long run, it's good for you. And if nothing else, even if you don't like, share, favorite, comment, subscribe, Even if you don't do all that stuff, the one thing I really want all my listeners to do is to come away each episode ready to do better. Ready to feel better. The idea is to have a positive impact. And if the most positive impact I can have is telling you that it's okay to get rid of that bookmark that your ex-wife gave you as a gift, and now every time you open up a book you have to spend 30 seconds thinking about her before you get to dive into the book. It's okay to get rid of that. When you realize you're at a point where it's not going back, whether it's a friend, whether it's a job, whether it's a family, whether it's a death, whether it's an ex, when you get to that point where consciously, even if you suppress it, you know in the back of your head it's not coming back. Clean house. Because some of this nostalgic stuff is okay. That t-shirt that's hanging in my closet that my mom got me on vacation, that's never fit right and never will fit right. If she were to die tomorrow, I'm not getting rid of that. I'm never going to wear it. I'm not getting rid of it. There's some stuff from a couple of my exes I'm not getting rid of because they're good. They don't have that weighing me down feeling. There's stuff from old friends that I still have because they're good. They're not that weight. But there's still plenty more that does have that feeling of just, maybe it's after a drink or two and you look around and you just go, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this thing. I don't want this life. I don't want to feel this way, whatever it is. And you got to clear house, and that's okay. Clearing house is good. And if that's what you as an individual need to do to get through a death, to get through, losing a job, to get through, breaking up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, get through, losing a friend, and that's what you need to do. And there's nothing worse you can do to yourself than actively deny the chance to move on. Wow, this got... yeah, I got a little bit deeper than I meant to there. It's a good thing nobody listens to this show, right? Anyway, that was your Nameless show for... checking my watch here. That was your Nameless show for Friday, February 25th, 2015. 16. Hope you like it. Hope you favorite, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't know when the next one will be. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Eventually, once all this work stuff clears up, once I know more certainly what my living arrangements will be in the future. Once I'm not busy all the time. Once I'm not busy all the time. I'll have a much more definitive schedule other than what I can say right now, which is just I'll see you next time I see you on the Nameless Show. Thank you for listening.